And now nobody wants to touch the dollar because it's like a hot potato, because you don't know on Wednesday at what price it's going to be trading at. You know what I mean? So now there we have speculation, and because there's no demand pool, so the sense of it is that not many people are demanding it, so it may drop even more, because maybe people are like, until I'm
Yeah, a lot of
because those that bought it at 23 kwacha, 22 kwacha, they're not going to say, whoa, let me drop it before it reaches. Last time there was a prediction on news, one of these news articles or TV stations, and there was a statement to say we might see it getting to as low as 15 kwacha. If you bought it at 22 kwacha, you might want to get rid of it at 18 or 19 kwacha. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you
And
might find yourself in the loss.
yeah, you might. So it's now a hot potato. So nobody wants to touch it. You're like, hey, no. So it's pretty exciting. I think these elections are very, very exciting, not because of all the politics, but when we actually look at it from, first of all, we have COVID. So all participants have to get creative with how they're going to reach their voters and convince somebody. And even as a voter myself, I feel like I haven't heard enough about, who I'm voting for. I'm almost tempted to go, like, for my constituency. I'm in Munali constituency. I'm almost tempted to go on these pages. Like, what are you saying? Because I'm not finding them. When I listen to the radio, I can't hear them. And what are you saying? Where are you? What are you gonna do for me? And these are the problems that check out on their Facebook. So now we have, from my perspective anyway, we have a situation where as a voter you are now looking for this information. Before it was like all over, right? And then the next thing is that, like you said, there used to be a lot of spending during elections, whether it's government spending because of security issues, and political parties are spending, they are, printing things, because actually this season for printing companies, it's like heaven, they make a lot of money. All printing companies, whether big or small, they make good money. Yeah, but I don't think they've made as much, or maybe they're still printing, but because there are not as many rallies, and now we're seeing them virtually, so it's something else.
You know what I think? I actually think because of COVID, they should print more. Because of less rallies, the only way you can make a bigger impact is now your posters, because you can't go out there physically, and your posters should be able to speak for you. So if these political parties have not taken advantage of that, this is their time. This is their time. They can actually go full throttle, because they can't do rallies, so they can only do billboards. Those should be able to speak for them. Like, they have to be old.
Even social media marketing is not so expensive when you compare it to being on TV, being on radio. So this is like, it's a very different and interesting campaign season. I think we should one day have a talk just about how interesting this campaign season has been, because we haven't even, like, when you look at debt swap, you look at it, like, these are serious strategic moves. And you have to really be very, very on top of your game. It's a very strategic move, and you can't play the politics that were happening 10 years ago today.
Yeah, that's true. So you're under the impression that the debt swap is a political move?
Not that, well, it's strategic. I'm not saying it's political. It's to help people. I don't want to be on the wrong side of the boat, but it's the timing. It's very strategic. Whether it's political or not, it's strategic. Strategic in that, non-political, strategic in that COVID and people are struggling, and also, even when you remove the politics out of it and we get to business, if you have so many defaults, it's not so good,
That's true.
yeah, best the government swallows it and deals with, and also we are feeling the pressure. I mean, in the private sector, come and give me some debt swap. I'm gonna be happy about that. Just to ease off the pressure and whatever. But also, when you look at it politically, we can't deny that it's strategic. And I'm not pro anything. I'm just saying, when you look at it from outside in, these are very interesting times. I would love to read about this in comparison to the last elections. That would be so interesting.
No, this has to be one of the most interesting. Look, because a lot of things are happening. A lot. Everything is just happening at the same time. It's so overwhelming. There has to be something written about just this period. It's been very interesting, very exciting. And from the last point you raised, I just want to say this. I think in the long run, I can sit on this and somebody can come chop me later on. It's just coming from me. I think in the long run, the Kwacha is still gonna appreciate. All right. Remember that we didn't have a good deal with the IMF like 2 years ago, but now they're back. We're gonna see a lot of inflows, a lot of debt restructuring. Okay. Yes, in the short run, in the short term, maybe a year or two, we might see a lot of volatility. Meaning we'll see the Kwacha go to 23, maybe come down to what, because of different movements. But in the long run, I still believe the Kwacha is still going to appreciate based on the fact that we're still getting that gold. Okay, we're still buying that gold to boost our international reserves. The SDR coming in from the IMF is just going to boost international reserves. Copper price demand on the London Metal Exchange is also big, and also because the world is slowly moving to the green investment. So we're going towards electric vehicles. Copper prices are still gonna go up and up and up and up, and based on those things, we will see a lot of dollar inflows coming in. And the fact that we're still restructuring our debt and the IMF is still speaking on our behalf, and if we're gonna borrow from the IMF, it's gonna be on concessional rates and not on these commercial rates that we get from these other countries. We'll still see the dollar, the Kwacha appreciate a bit more in the long term. So let's say by the time it's in the third year by 2023 or so, we'll be seeing a lot of appreciation. Right now, there's going to be a lot of volatilities because obviously if a new government comes in, or the existing government still continues, there's going to be a lot of policies. Maybe some policies may be uncomfortable for us citizens because of the position that the country is in. Maybe we might have to pay for those things that are happening. So we might spend a bit more, So those things are what will make us uncomfortable, maybe fly the Kwacha around. But in the long term, it's going to be good. That's the famous term. Like, it's going to get worse before it gets better.
It's darkest before dawn, yeah?
Yeah. It's going to be dark. It's going to be dark for a bit longer, though. But yeah.
Yeah. So we obviously can get into, we can talk forever.
Yeah.
But on just to tie a pretty little ribbon on this conversation, how our ending remarks. Of course, I'm an optimist to a certain extent, and I want to leave people positive. So, what are the positive remarks as we wind up the show? What do you have to say to encourage somebody there who feels really unsettled with the exchange rate? They don't even know where to start from.
This actually takes me back to your lessons, Matilda. At the end of the day, remember why we actually had these discussions in the very beginning before we became so economic about these other things. At the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, it's about your own investments, your own savings, the stock markets. And let's talk about Luce, which has had a flat line for quite a while. That should give you a bit of comfort. If there's less volatility in the market, even though you're not making money, you're not losing money at the end of the day, Yeah, I know, ZCCM, the prices have been going up and down at least, but yes, there are certain stocks that have been flatlined for years. At the end of the day, I know the exchange rate affects all of us, but you're going to be in a good position if you have a bit of money and you're able to invest in your treasury bills that are 27%, beat the inflation rate, do all those things. Save, put your money in investment portfolios that can earn you much. At the end of the day, be in a comfortable position. All right. So yeah, so beat the exchange rate, beat the inflation. That's all I can say to these guys.
Great.
Yeah. And you, what are you gonna say to me and to all of us?
I'm gonna say, like, you guys, all these things, exchange rates, we have all these conversations. It's so easy to get caught up in negative news, to get, big down about it, because really around the world, actually, Zambia is not even too bad. Around the world, you have worse of news, you know what I mean? And at the end of the day, if we want to see the change in our country at national level, it starts with you, it starts with me. When we sort out our individual economic status, it becomes better for our families, it becomes better for our communities, it becomes better for our nation. So the more we are doing this, we should be doing this. Like, what am I doing? So let's not get too discouraged with the exchange rate or too excited, because when you're too discouraged or too excited, you're too emotional about it, and it's easy to get caught up when it's not what you want. But I think the key thing is, let's work hard, let's chase our dreams, let's not give up. It is hard, but it's hard for everybody, but we're all getting up and trying to do the best we can. So those are my closing remarks. We should always just, keep trying, keep pushing, and stay positive. COVID is not a joke. So many things have been presented, but let's keep doing this thing. So you guys that are joining us on Facebook, I haven't seen so many people joining. Actually, I think they were coming in and dropping off, coming in and dropping off. Thank